I've won again.
I'm bored with croquet, Paul. I'm bored with lockdown. Anything else we could do today?
You know, today is your lucky day because, thanks to our old mate, David W. Bushstuff, we've got 3 amazing cars. We've got a V8 Ferrari.
Are these for us?
A V10 Lamborghini and a V12
We can drive
Aston
them.
Martin. Yeah.
Drive all of them. Yeah. Look at the colour of these.
They're bright, aren't they? This is only part of his collection as well. Pista, Tiff. Came out in 2018. It feels like it's a bit newer than that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know. I was quite surprised. But what's the story about this colour then? I don't think I've ever seen a Ferrari in this colour.
There are a couple, not many.
It's a standard Ferrari colour, isn't it?
Arancio is a standard Ferrari colour, and the owner, so David is the second owner. The first owner spec'd the car, put all the love and attention and money into the car, and only did 390 miles in it.
What, they put it up for sale?
Yeah, you imagine going through all that trouble, specking this beautiful car.
I've just looked, it's not just the colour, but this is carbon fibre everywhere. So it must be like one of the most expensive 488 there is.
It is. The list price for the car is about £250,000, £250,000. This car has got over £130,000 worth of extras, which is, as you quite rightly say, mostly carbon fibre pretty much everywhere. So imagine that, £130,000 worth of extras. A bit bumpy, isn't it?
I'll press the bumpy road button. I always love that about the fact the Italians have got something that actually says bumpy road. I think is absolutely lovely.
And you got your little Manatino, of course.
Yeah, I'm just on cruising.
I like to go in sport mode as well. Race is quite aggressive in Ferraris, isn't it?
We got a race.
Sounds better already. Easy tiger. It's like a big posh go-kart, isn't it?
But really comfy seats. I mean, I must admit. And this is the thing about the smaller supercars. You can imagine touring in them and going a reasonable distance.
You say they're really comfortable seats, which I don't disagree. I prefer to have a bit more adjustment in my seat. But I'll tell you what I don't particularly like: harnesses in a road car.
Oh yeah, I know.
You're the same.
It's just because I've got them slightly loose. In fact, you make me feel guilty now because that's what you do. You want to be able to move around. And so you have them not fully tight, so that's so dangerous.
But exactly, the whole point of a harness, of course, is to hold you in should you have a crash. But as I found out recently, my caterer.
Did you ever crash in a caterer? I hadn't heard about that, Paul. I don't know what I'm worried about. It's got these carbon rims, hasn't it, this car? I'm looking for every small pothole. I don't want to ding David's rims, that's for sure.
And I'll tell you what I find amazing is the fact that this sort of car with this turbocharged engine...
It's so quiet, what, 2,500 revs in 7th gear?
Come on, drop it down a few gears. Get it down to 2nd gear. Slow down a bit, get it into 2nd gear, give it some beats.
4, 3, 2... Fire! Oh, it's the limiter! Wow! That must be too fast. You see we're over.
You hit the speed limit in the UK in about a second. It's incredible.
So, how much power is this, remind me?
It's 720 horsepower, which is just nuts, really, isn't it? 770 newton meters of torque, and it weighs 1,280 kilograms.
I still quite like, nowadays so many cars are getting nearer 2 tons. It's still a relatively light car.
But it's lovely inside as well, isn't it? I love the fact that it's got all this Alcantara, carbon fibre everywhere, and they've carried this orange all the way through to the inside as well. You say these seats are comfy.
Oh yeah, okay, I'm changing my mind. These seats hold you very well,
yes.
but I think they may be a bit harsh for a big long distance. Are they optional? Is this just the standard seat you get?
Yeah, everything in this car is optional. 130 grand's worth of options.
So we've done the V8, the turbo V8. What am I driving next? The V10 perhaps?
What am I driving next? I'm driving the Lamborghini V10. You got no say next. I've got choices.
Is this being fair? That you drive one, I drive one.
There's 3 cars. There's 2.
Okay, all right. You're gonna drive.
Welcome, Tiff, to the V10 Lamborghini Huracan Performante.
Yes, but while we've gained a couple of cylinders, we've lost the turbo. We're about 80 horsepower down on the Ferrari. It's a bit less power, but equally firm seats, aren't they? This is the trouble with these performance models. They all have to have racing bucket seats, which you might not want for a long cruise.
I wouldn't fancy a long cruise in this. This is much firmer than I
Have you got a
remember.
bumpy road? Can you get a bumpy road switch, Paul?
I got no bumpy road switch.
Wow, we
I've
got
got-
softs.
No Manatino, but of course I got this button here which will allow me to go in from Strada to Sport to Corsa.
We're in Strada, aren't we?
Yeah, we're in Strada.
God, it
It's
is a firm,
by
isn't it?
default. It's a very firm ride, isn't it?
Because with this Performante model, what it's like 40 kilograms lighter than the Huracan, spacier, fancy Italian stripes on the doors. I like those Italian stripes. And of course, it's got this classic colour. It's a Diablo colour, isn't it?
It was the launch colour for the original Diablo, if you remember. It's called SE30 Viola. God, it's bumpy.
Well,
God, it's bumpy, isn't it?
yeah,
It's
this
really
seat's
firm. Really stiff, and the seat doesn't soak up anything. I don't think the shock absorbers soak anything up, and then the seats amplify the bumps even more. What we lack in horsepower,
I don't like him doing this.
what we lack in horsepower against the Ferrari, we've got all-wheel drive, and we've got a naturally aspirated V10 engine, which, when you put your foot down, mamma mia!
It does so. I'm glad you got four-wheel drive, Paul. I feel a bit safer. But of course, this car's got ALA. You know about that, don't you? It says aerodynamic Lamborghini Attiva.
I'm glad that Vicky Piria gave you a lesson on how to say that last
I
time.
said that perfectly. Aerodynamic Lamborghini Attiva.
Sport mode, there we go, that's better. Even firmer now.
Oh! Who needs another 80 horsepower and a turbo when you've got that behind you? I mean, they're all way too quick for the public roads anyway, so I think I'd rather have the sound than the turbo.
Give me
Oh,
this
and the
noise.
crackle, the crackle. And go on crackle again. Accelerate, decelerate, decelerate.
Oh.
But you've got another one. You've got Corsa to try, haven't you?
Hang on, let's go to
Does
sport.
that make it even more crackly?
And then
Go. Accelerate. No, I hate it when you do this.
I just want to keep going.
Bit too much Audi and it slightly spoils the interior. I love the banker switches. I love the 3 gauges with the little needles going. But below, what I want is to cover that middle with this crushed crushed carbon fibre. What do they call it?
Forged carbon fibre.
Forged, because the rear wing's the same. It's all
It is, and all around the car, the carbon fibre. Do you know, I don't feel this is Audi at all. Clearly there's an influence there from Audi, but I do get into it, and it does feel special.
Right, time for the last one. 12 cylinders and hopefully a bit more comfort in that Aston Martin.
I'm going to drive. Shotgun, I'm driving.
Well, no, it's my turn now.
I'll tell you what, rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Best of one. 1, 2, 3.
I get to drive the Aston Martin.
Oh, this is a bit more comfortable, isn't it? Nice comfy seats.
So we gained 2 more cylinders. We've actually lost another 60 horsepower, I think, haven't we?
600 horsepower on the nose for this one. But 600 glorious, naturally aspirated V12 horses.
That's normally aspirated to normal people.
Do you know we did a poll on this? Naturally aspirated or normally aspirated. Even your fans back me on that one. Naturally aspirated, not normally aspirated.
That'll shut you up. You notice the changes aren't as snappy, are they, with the Autobots? They're still very impressive. Anyway, what is this green all about? I've never seen an Aston in this green.
You're right, the green is a very unusual colour. It costs £18,000 as an optional extra.
It looks like a Lamborghini sort of green.
You're right, it is exactly right.
Oh, it is?
Mante Verdis is a Lamborghini colour. Had to be signed off with the then CEO, which was Dr. Andy Palmer. So it had to be personally signed off by him and
Did
approved.
Lamborghini approve it as well?
I don't think so. I don't think they cared about Lamborghini. They just went ahead and did it. But the colour looks great, doesn't it? It's
fabulous.
only one of 100 cars ever to be built, the GT12s, and only 23 that are in the UK. There's a few more right-hand drives, but 23 in the UK.
So how does the price compare with this one to the other two?
It was the same as the Pista when it was new. It was £250,000 when new. This car's got £70,000 worth of extras, but because of course it's a collector's car now, it's probably worth, I don't know, maybe 350, 400, maybe even a touch more, particularly in this colour.
Because there's some sort of story where this is the Aston that saved the company, wasn't it, or something they say?
So they say. They say that the GT12 saved the company. They sold the 100 so quickly, then they did the GT8, and of course, I guess what that does, it pushes up the whole range of cars as well. People then realise that Aston is really cool, and they do make some lovely cars.
So what do you say? There was 70 grand's worth of extras. That's the paint, obviously a big one. What else have we got?
You got a carbon roof, which is £5,000. You got Bang & Olufsen, which is £8,000. Who needs that?
Who needs Bang when you've got the music from the exhaust behind you?
And that exhaust is an extra as well. Titanium exhaust. You got centre locking wheel caps. Central. What do you call them, Tiff? You're a racing driver.
Yeah, centre lock wheels.
There you go. Thank you.
I tell you, it feels nimble because this is probably the heaviest of the three.
1,585 kilograms, so it is the heaviest, but it's not that heavy really.
Yeah.
It feels a bit heavier, but it looks like it should be heavier.
I love this steering wheel, really firm, Alcantara, and it's sort of, you feel the front wheels through it. Of course, with only 600 horsepower, it's probably not as quick to 60, is it? But does that matter?
It doesn't matter. It's almost a second slower. It's 3.5 seconds, just 62. But who cares?
I know.
It's not about that. This is about the occasion. Other two cars, when you get to our very modest age, you have to think long and hard about driving to the south of France. But this thing, you wouldn't think twice about it, would you?
We'd be there in a snap. But I'm beginning. The other two are real track-focused cars. But you're talking about a Grand Tourer with a very, very sporty edge. I'm beginning to think this might be the one.
This is the one that's put the biggest smile on our faces so far. That was a bit of fun, wasn't it?
What a day. And I have to say, Paul, that was better than another game of croquet.
I should say.
But I mean, to drive three such magnificent cars all in one day, we've been spoiled.
The brightest colours ever as well. V8 turbo, naturally aspirated V10.
Wow.
V12 naturally aspirated. Which one are you going to choose?
Well, it's an almost impossible choice, but just for sheer, adrenaline pumping, it has to be. Yes, doesn't it?
I'm with you on that. I can't believe we're turning down a Lamborghini and a Ferrari for an Aston Martin.
So
but
we both want to go home in the same car?
My turn to drive, though.
All right, Paul, just for a change.
Thanks, Dad.
Have to be kind to you occasionally. Are you sure you can handle this, though?
I'm a racing driver now. Of course I can handle it.
And how much power does your Caterham have?
Well, I'm still a racing driver.
Huge thanks to David for letting us use part of his collection, and also to Bradley and everybody at SEC for putting this together.